Right, so I just thought I'd play a little bit of 2 meters, 2 meters, 20 meters FT8 today. Today's Sunday. It's the start of August, and here we are using the Flex6300, and this software in the top left-hand corner is the Flex software. This is called SmartSDR. The software to the right of that is WSJTX, which is not specific to the Flex. You can use this for any radio. This is the scope that comes with WSJTX. Just click OK there. Over here on the left hand side, this is Gridtracker. And down here, this is the detached logbook of Log4OM. So Log4OM I've got minimized at the moment. That's that software there. But I don't need to see that, so I've got that minimized. So I'll just talk you through briefly just what's actually happening here. So the Flex is set to 20 meters. It's using its second antenna, which is the cobweb. Let me just make sure, yep, which is using the cobweb, which is resonant on 20 meters. And WSJTX just talks straight to the Flex software because the software on the Flex runs on the PC, the WSJTX runs on the PC, and so there's no messing around with cables and TNCs and all this kind of stuff. It just does it. So WSJTX talks to SmartSDR. In actual fact, looking at that, I'm slightly off frequency. Hold on. Why am I off frequency? Just change that. So yeah, as you can see there, just by changing the frequency on WSJTX, automatically told SmartSDR to also change to that frequency. The power level I've got set to around about 80% of the maximum, which is somewhere around about 80 watts. The WSJTX software also talks to the Gridtracker software, and you can see any spots are actually put onto Gridtracker. And you can also see with the little lines that are on here who's talking to who. You can see that just by mousing over that station there, there's a Japanese station having a QSO with that station there in Madeira. And you can see there that one of these dots is going to be me. There it is. And it's telling you that I'm in QSO with a station UR4 MLS KN98, which is that one. There you go. Click OK. A lot of people don't like FT8 because it's just kind of automated. Literally all you're doing is just acknowledging a QSO like I just did there and pressing enable TX. That's really the only interaction that a human has to have in order to have a QSO. I went through a stage of loving FT8. It really helped increase my DXCCs, the number of countries that I'd had QSOs with, which was really, really interesting. You know, when you see a VK or a ZL pop up or a JA, you know, that's lovely to be able to get those into your logbook. But every now and then I just like to have a little bit of a play with FT8. And also it's very, very good to kind of gauge propagation. It's all very well and good looking at beacons and all that kind of stuff, but here you can actually see live conversations that are happening between two stations. There's a station N4GG in QSO with G8KHF, and it gives you their signal reports, and so you can actually gauge, you know, what the band conditions are like as well using FT8, a little bit like you could with Whisper. Now I'm only running a very, very basic station here, no extra power, only 100 watts, of which I'm using about 80 of those, so no amplifiers. The antenna that I'm running here for this is a cobweb, so not a big beam, it's not directional. In fact, it's fairly omnidirectional. So I haven't got a rotator or anything like that on it. Very little, if anything, in terms of gain. So yeah, it's a very, very basic station in terms of output. The cobweb is around about maybe 10 meters above the ground, so nothing special. And where I am here, which is in the centre of the UK, in a housing development, you know, normal housing development, modern housing development, surrounded by other houses with solar panels and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, the usual in terms of QRM, and also neighbours to consider. So, you know, I can't have a 30 metre high tower. There you go. So that's just had a QSO. So I'm just going to acknowledge that and click OK. When I click OK, you'll see down here in the logbook, you'll see that that QSO will appear automatically. There you go. And now I'm just going to click enable, and that'll put it back into its transmit mode. So it's very, very automated. So yeah, nothing special in terms of my working conditions. The Flex that I've got here is a 6300. Which is, in terms of the modern signature series Flexes, is the entry-level Flex. It can only do one receive or two receives, but on one band at any one time. But it has got the beauty of being able to be networked. So literally, what you're seeing here, I could actually do from somewhere else using a laptop across the internet, you know, using this exact same software. I wouldn't have to have a direct connection straight into my my radio. I love the Flex because, and I've explained this a million times before, but you're not tied down to sitting in front of the radio like you are in front of an FTDX 3000 or 5000 or something like that. I also love the ability that you can use a computer, so literally everything's controlled by your mouse and your keyboard. And I also love the fact that because it is on a computer, you've got no messing around with TNCs and cables and levels and stuff. It's just literally in front of you, so it makes it very, very easy. I love the graphical side of FT8, the fact that you can actually see where your signal is going and who's receiving it. Even if you're not having a conversation with the person, using Gridtracker or even PSK Reporter, you can actually see what stations can hear your signal. So again, it gives you an encouragement that, you know, even though you're not actually having a two-way communication with that station, at least your signal's being heard. So that's interesting. You know, I've had some really, especially on Whisper, for instance, on really, really low power, you know, to be able to see that your signal's being received by a station in Antarctica or New Zealand or something like that is quite a buzz, really. And obviously with FT8, there's no with FT8 there's no ability to have a conversation. So you're not going to start telling people what the weather's like or what you had for your breakfast. There's none of that. It literally is just an exchange of call sign, signal report, and locator. Which, again, for these purposes is fine. That qualifies as a QSO. There are other modes, PSK31, JS8, call, where you can actually have a kind of conversation, albeit keyboard to keyboard, which, again, is something else that's new, or something else that's novel. But anyway, this is all about FT8. The idea here isn't to show you how to configure this. I've done videos like that before. This is just really for me playing FT8, and I thought I would share it with you. So I'll leave you to have a look at the screens. I'm going to go and make a coffee, and then I'll be back in a few minutes. But we're calling CQ constantly. Anytime now, if you watch this top right hand corner, hopefully you'll see a red bar pop up. In actual fact, I'll tell you what, let's go back to one of these calls, that one there for instance. So I've done that just by double clicking on that line, and you'll see that it's come over here, and you'll see that I'm now replying to KATDUT, and you'll see that in this box here, that's my response. So what happens is, when he replies, it will work its way down this list, and if you actually watch this happening, even if you don't use FT8 at the moment, and if you don't understand how FT8 works, just by watching it, I'm sure you'll understand that it's, number one, it's really automated. There is the opportunity, if you really want to change some of this text. So for instance, you could actually put your own free text into here to a certain length. So, if you knew that you were talking to somebody that you knew, you could actually put their name in there if you wanted to, or thanks or something like that. But for now, I just leave it on the standard generated text. Potentially, this guy might not hear me. I'll give him a few chances to hear me. And if he doesn't, I'll move on to someone else. Basically, with FT8, as with a lot of the digital modes, timing is key. So I run a piece of software in the background that automatically, every 2 hours, I think it is, goes away and synchronizes its time. The piece of software that I use is called, I think it's called NetTime. But there are a few other network time synchronization software packages out there that you can use. And it's important that your time is synchronized, because if your time isn't synchronized, literally, when the other station is receiving, they've got a slot of like 20 seconds to receive. And if you're off, you'll start transmitting part way into that slot, so they'll never ever be able to receive your full transmissions because you're not synchronized. So it's important that you synchronize your time up properly. Let's just click on somebody else, because that guy clearly isn't going to hear me. So I'll just click on this CU call sign. So yeah, as I say, I synchronize my time up automatically, probably every 2 hours, I think it's set to do. If ever you're out on time, you'll see up here in this box here, DT. If that's ever adrift by more than probably 0.5 or 1 or something like that, then that's a good indication that either you or the station that you're talking to is off in terms of their time synchronization. Okay, so that CU call sign has now responded to my call. And literally, to call him or to reply to him, all I did was just double click, as you may or may not have seen. Sorry, I didn't tell you that. So you'll see here in this box, it started to move its way down the list. I'm not clicking any of these buttons. I've got no involvement here in what's going on. It's just literally doing all this automatically. And you'll see that that's now logged, and I'll click OK, and I'll click Enable. I'm really not trying to make this sound boring, because a lot of people love FT8, and I also like it. But yeah, it is a very automated mode of communication. I like FT8 when I'm here working during the day, for instance, and I'm focusing on a particular screen, maybe doing a spreadsheet or a presentation or something for work, and literally in the background FT8 is just going, and every now and then I'll just look up and I'll see that it's had a QSO with somebody, click OK, and then it just carries on doing it. So I can actually be enjoying radio in a fashion whilst working. Let's have a quick look at any comments. Let's have a look at this. Hi Steve and Eric. Hi from Canada. Thanks for joining us. Not into digital, Steve. Not into digital. Yeah, welcome back to the hobby. At the end of the day, it's not for everybody. You know, it's one of those subjects that always generates. It's a bit of a Marmite taste to a certain extent. You know, it will always generate people that like it and people that don't like it. And one of the great things about this hobby is it's as wide as it is deep. I'll just double click on that station there. I don't know where they are, but anyway. Yeah, FT8, it's one of them things that some people love, some people hate it. You know, there's lots of arguments for and against, but amateur radio as a hobby, it's as wide as it is deep. And, you know, if you don't like a certain part of amateur radio, you don't have to do it. You can go over there and do something else. That's not a problem. One of my philosophies is live and let live. Simple as that. Life's too short. But yeah, welcome back to the hobby there, Steve. Lots and lots of things have happened over the last few years. I've only been in the hobby for 3 years, so, you know, a lot of this was new to me a year or so ago. Yeah, William's made a really good comment there. FT4. So FT4 is like the new generation of FT8. I haven't played too much on FT4, and one of the great things about Gridtracker, it doesn't actually show you actually, but one of the really good things that Gridtracker does, I don't know if you can see my mouse, but my mouse is hovering over the Gridtracker screen in the bottom left hand corner, or bottom left hand quadrant of the screen, where it's going between receive and decode. And let's just click there, because it's not actually doing anything at the moment. Where it says transmit now in red. So just below there, you've got a graph that shows you where all the traffic is. So instantly, if I was now trying to call CQ on FT8 on 160 meters, then I'd know it's going to be a fairly long day, because as you can see, if I bring my mouse over here, yeah, you can see my mouse. Great. Okay, I'm looking at this screen now. So I can see that there's nobody on. And equally, there's nobody on, according to this, on 80 meters. And Gridtracker is going off and looking at all the spots. So, you know, there's no point in being on 80 or 60 or 160 meters. Because there's nobody else on. There's only a few people on 40 meters and also 30 meters. But you'll see the most amount of traffic is on 20 meters and 17. So, you know, those are the bands to stick for. And equally, and if I wanted to, and I will in actual fact, I will switch over to FT4 in a second, just so that we can actually see the spots. And also so that you can see how easy it is to switch over from FT8 to FT4. But yeah, FT4, the big difference is it's only half the amount of time to have the exchange. So whereas FT8 is 30 seconds and over, it's only, or sorry, not 30 seconds, 15 seconds and over. Sorry, let me just turn 2 meters down. 15 seconds and over, I don't know what I was thinking there. It's half of that. So, so it's quick. So anyway, we're not getting anywhere here. Let's just halt that. And so this is how we're going to switch over to FT4 now. This will just show you how easy it is. I'll just have a look. What's my lag? I don't know what my lag is. I'm going to guess, because I didn't set this up through YouTube, I'm going to guess my lag could be somewhere in the region of 15 seconds or something like that, to be honest. Because I knew I wasn't going to be on SSB having phone QSOs, I wasn't that bothered about lag, to be honest. So yeah, but anyway, welcome John. Let's switch modes. So if you can see my mouse, just here it says that we're on FT8. If I now go to the top here to mode, I can simply change over to FT4. Now when I do this, and I'll just explain what's going to happen here just so that you can watch what's going to happen. As soon as I click FT4, a few things are going to happen. Number one, it's going to change frequency. So you'll see the frequency change here. And you'll also see the frequency change here. And you'll also see this change and setup. And you'll also see the mode change here to FT4, hopefully. And you'll also see this change here to FT4. And, well, there you go. You'll see a few other things as well. The spots will all change. You'll also see the activity graph change as well. So let's do it and see what happens. So there you go. I'm going to click FT4 now. Okay. So that's now set itself up for FT4, and you can see there how easy that is. So now we're on FT4, we're receiving a lot less spots. Okay, so according to Gridtracker, 242 people on FT4 versus lots that were on FT8. But you'll see it's a lot quicker. So 7.5-ish seconds per over. So we can rattle through these. So let's just double click on the HB9 station. Hi Oscar, how you doing? Nice to hear you, mate. I'll contact you tomorrow, by the way. Sorry I missed you over the last few days. What do I prefer? Do you know what? FT8 is my go-to Digimode. I used to, when I first got into the hobby, play around with PSK31 quite a lot. That was quite good. But the problem is, it's a bit like any mode. You go, oh, just click enable, sorry I forgot that. You go where there's a good chance of having a chat with someone. So whether it's 2 meters or 20 meters or 80 meters, there's no point in putting yourself on a band where there is going to be nobody to talk to. So I go where the traffic is. So FT8, 20 meters and 40 meters, that's probably where you'll find me. FT4 only for the simple fact that there's less people on it. So it's a bit like fishing in a lake where there's only 2 fish. You know, the chances of catching 3 fish is nil. So yeah, that's my preference. If FT4 was busier, I would go to FT4 every day because it's faster. So there you go. So the HB9 station has come in. So, you know, admittedly, he's probably not receiving me that well for some reason, because he didn't reply back on that round. So it's a very quick exchange, yeah? He calls CQ, I go back to him with a signal report, he comes back to me with a signal report, I go back to him, bang, done. So it should literally be, you know, less than 30 seconds. So let's just call CQ again on FT4. And again, the beauty of the beauty of these two Digimodes is as the day progresses, you can physically watch the band change. It's great on Gridtracker, for instance, where with the grey line you can see night here and day here, and the grey line obviously around. I don't know whether you can get it to display grey line, but anyway, for those of you that don't know, grey line is basically the description of the bit of where day becomes night, effectively. So kind of here. And as the day goes on, as you can see, that day and night shifting across the screen, or across the map, you can actually see the way that propagation changes. There you go. So there's a French station. Thank you very much. Enable TX. So yeah, you can see the way that propagation changes, and you can see the QSOs taking place on different bands, for instance, depending on how they work with the different layers of the atmosphere. You can see that QSOs start taking place into the US when it becomes daylight and things like that. It's quite interesting to watch. Something that you just can't do. You can't visually do that on phone. Oh, there's a JA station that just came back to me. That's nice. Yes, there you go. Oh, there was a JA station there, wasn't there? So what I've just done there is just double clicked on that. You may have just seen that. And that's now going to try and have that that QSO and pick up on the back end of that QSO with that JA station. That would be nice if I can get that in the logbook. I don't think I've had any JAs on FT4 before. Bum. Fingers crossed. Where is that JA station then? It's not showing up on Gridtracker. As you can see, it's very, very quick, and that is the beauty of FT4. And also, you could also say, because there's less stations, therefore there's going to be less. Oh, there we go. That's interesting. Let's put that in the logbook. Let's wait for that to pop up. Come on. Why hasn't that popped up? That hasn't popped up in my logbook. That's annoying. What's going on here? Bum. Oh, right. Okay, William. I just don't know why the JA station didn't come into my logbook. Right, I'm going to go and make a coffee. I'll leave you with watching the screen for a bit. How's my logbook? There's the JA station. Just took a little bit of time. Cool. Okay, that's nice. 9,500 miles on FT4 and 20 meters. Cool. Right, I'm just going to go and make a coffee. If any of you need to shoot off, thanks very much for joining me. It was only a bit of an impromptu stream, but I just thought play a little bit of Digimodes. I'm going to probably go off up a hill shortly and play 2 meters, but yeah, I just thought you might be interested in just seeing how I've got it set up for Digimodes. I'll be back in a few minutes. I'm just going to turn the camera off and whatever, but I'll be back in a few minutes. So if you want to stick around, I'll be back shortly with a coffee. Right, that's the kettle on. How we doing? Hello from Tokyo. I won't even attempt to kind of try and converse in Japanese. Sayonara, what's that? Good night, I think. Konnichiwa, thank you. That's about all I know. Is that another JA station? It is. Wow. 2 JA stations. And there's a 3rd JA station. Ah, that's the one that you was on about, William. I'll just, for those of you that are interested, I'll just give you a bit of a view of my my setup here if you're interested. Afternoon, Brian. Hope you're well. Hold on, 2 secs. Let's load this up. Right, let's... Okay, I'll just give you a quick view of my working conditions here on this Sunday morning. Let's do this. Turn that on. Bring that to there. Stick it there, shall we? There you go. How's that? So, let's just hold on. That wasn't very well thought out, was it? 2 secs. Didn't realise I'd cropped it down. There you go. Okay. There you go. That's working conditions here at the moment. So I'm sure you've seen it all before. So this screen over here is doing all of the stuff with regards to the live stream and whatever. This screen in the middle is just where I would, I don't know, do other stuff. This is the live stream. This is going out on YouTube, and this is the only screen that I'm looking at. So, and you can see that I've got the webcam there in the middle. So I'm kind of hopefully always looking at the screen. And then I've got 2 meters on as well, because there was a bit of SOTA activity earlier. There you go. So I just thought I'd show you that. Right, I reckon my coffee's brewed now, so let's just turn that off. And I will go and get my coffee and be back in a second. Right, how are we doing? We haven't got that other JA station, unfortunately. Okay. Let's see if we can get in touch with this guy. See, we've got 0.7 of a second in terms of difference there in time synchronization. That won't make any difference. But you want to try and keep that down as low as you can. It's not called bass in actual fact anymore. What's it called today? Cause, maybe? But yeah, Burton-on-Trent is a brewing town. That's what it's renowned for. Renowned for, sorry. So yeah, the smell of the hops and all that kind of stuff, and obviously one of the byproducts of brewing is yeast. Well, it's called something else, the mash or something like that. Don't know, but yeah, one of the byproducts of brewing is this stuff that's used in Marmite, and so therefore we've got a Marmite or the Marmite factories in Burton-on-Trent. So the two are very, very closely connected. And just down the road as well, you'll probably know this. I don't know your name. Sorry, Horobin, in Japan. But yeah, just down the road from here is a place called Branston, and that's part of Burton-on-Trent, I suppose you could say. But that's where Branston pickle came from. There you go. So you'll see all of the activity really on FT4 is on 20 meters. TF. I'm trying to think where TF is. HP. Greenland? Oh, just hold on. There's Amazon. All right, Ted. Right, Ted. Ugh. Just Amazon. How are we doing? Oh, we've got the TF station. Do I know where TF is yet? Ah, Gary. Hi. JJ1QFM. What time is it there, Gary? What time is it in Japan? I'm guessing it must be sometime in the middle of the night. Yeah, in actual fact, who was it that said about the microphone? Oh, you're from Derby, Gary. Wow. I'm just reading the. I'm just reading a few of the comments. Ah, you're in Tokyo. Sorry, I'm just catching up on a few of the comments. Sorry about that. What happened to that TF station there? Oh, I stopped transmitting. Is that what I did? Why am I not transmitting? I don't know what happened there. Hope you're all well. Anyway, I wonder what we've got. So that's the great thing about FT8 and FT4. You don't have to pay a lot of attention to what's going on around you. So you can actually do multiple things at the same time. As I said earlier, it's, you know, it's great if you just want to get on with other stuff and play radio at the same time. Oh, look at this. Ooh. Parrot food. Food for the parrot from Amazon. 9:30 p.m. and 32 degrees. Wow. I bet it's quite humid out there, Gary. I'm sure some places in the UK yesterday had somewhere in the region of 35, 36 degrees. They were forecasting that it was going to be a heat wave. However, it seems to have only lasted 2 days here in Burton-on-Trent anyway. You can't decide whether you want to buy a Flex, Gary. There's nothing to decide. You know, I've made lots of videos saying how much I love radios with bells and whistles and knobs and dials and all that sort of stuff. But I've got to be honest with you, Gary, there's no turning back. You know, even though I've only been in the hobby a short amount of time and I've owned lots of radios, ranging from this little small FT2900 up to the best radio that I ever had was an FTDX 3000. Loved it to bits. And I didn't own it long enough, and I wish I'd owned it longer. And but then I discovered the Flex, and I got introduced to the Flex 3000. Loved it to bits. Upgraded it to the Flex 5000. Loved that to bits. And then this 6300 came along, and I just had to have it because it was networkable. Trust me. Oh, hiya Randy, how you doing? Trust me. Oh, I love the Flex so much. I think one of the problems is, especially in Yaesus, and I'm a Yaesu. Why is that keep cutting out? I think other people are having conversations with this that station, that TF station, that mine kept switching off. Let's try for this JA7 station. Oh, there you go. That'll do nicely, sir. One of the problems is when you start going up into the really, really big radios, like for instance the 990 and the FTDX 9000, for instance, it's a bit like going out and buying a camera. With me, I just want to switch it on and I want it to work. I don't want to have to spend the first 20 minutes setting it all up. If you go out and buy a professional camera, then you can't literally just pick it up and take pictures. You've got to set it up properly, and it's a little bit like that with radios. With the Flex, you know, it's not hard, but if you want it to be hard, it can be hard. Sorry, that's wrong to say that. If you want to, you can really, really get into it. And then you have to spend a lot of time setting it up. But you don't have to if you don't want to. You know, the top of the range Flex has got something like, I don't know, 8 slices and multiple receivers. And oh, there you go. That'll do. Thank you very much. Another Japanese station in the logbook. Yeah, so what I'm trying to say is it doesn't have to be complicated, but you have got that ability with the Flex to really, really push the limits. You know, there is the ability to have 2 operators using one Flex simultaneously. It's just awesome. And in actual fact, if you go onto the Flex website on YouTube, or the Flex website, and have a look at some of the YouTube videos, you will see sorry, I wasn't concentrating there. You will see one of the guys from Flex demonstrating this similar thing, but what he's got is he's got a bigger Flex than I have, and it's got the ability to have 2 FT8 conversations simultaneously. So, you know, that's just mind-blowing. Don't understand. Sorry, Gary. No common in Japan. Not common in Japan. Well, do you know what? Yeah, Steve. With the Flex, you can buy the Maestro, and I don't know if you know this, but so even with the Flex that I've got, the basic one, for instance, just put that on transmit. The basic one, for instance, which is the one I've got, you can buy something called a Maestro, which is it's not quite the size of my keyboard, but basically it is the front end of a radio, and it's got the screen on it, which is like an SDR. and you've got the knobs and the buttons and the dials, and it's got, or it can have a wireless adapter, so Wi-Fi, and it can have a rechargeable battery in there. So literally you can walk around the house, you know, having a QSO, and you can plug your microphone into it. So it actually becomes the front end of your big radio, but portable. And you know, as long as you've got an internet connection, you can use that anywhere. So you can automatically remote into your Flex, irrelevant of where you are and where it is, as long as you've got that connection. That can be through your mobile phone. But I like Ray Higgins, Whiskey 2 Radio Echo. You know, you have a look for him. You'll see that he's got this amazing contest station set up across America with remote stations and antennas, and he's going through the process at the moment of swapping out all of his aircraft. I think they were aircraft K3s or something like that, and he's swapping them all out for Flexes, all of them. And he's just I think he just took delivery of a lot of Flexes to do that job, because they are so easy to remote into. And one of the phrases that he uses is glass cockpit, which I think he, because he's a pilot, he refers to as the old-fashioned planes used to have loads of knobs and dials and meters and all this sort of stuff. And he would draw that analogy between radios and flying. So the old-fashioned planes had loads of analog stuff, whereas the modern planes, it's just basically screens and touch screen and all that kind of stuff. And he draws that analogy between planes and radio, and he calls it glass cockpit. And that's maybe a phrase that is in flying, but you know, he refers to this setup that I've got as glass cockpit, because literally all I'm using is a mouse and the screens. That's it. And the thing that I bought recently as well, which was dirt cheap, is this. And I don't know whether you can see this actually. I'll just lift it up there. And this is called a Shuttle Express. And literally, this has got a jog shuttle and buttons and stuff. And with this, I can actually control the Flex. So instead of using a mouse, you know, to click the screen and change the frequency, with that I can actually turn it. So it becomes a little bit like a radio. How do I get on with Gridtracker? I find it lovely. I mean, I probably don't use it to the extent where a lot of people do use it. Let's just click on him and let's just see if we can get him. I probably don't use it as much as what it could be used for. I tend to pick up a bit of software. Don't bother reading the instructions, as I'm sure a lot of us don't. So therefore I only discover a fraction of what it could do. But I love being able to see where my signal is getting out to, as I said at the start of this live stream. And it's just nice to be able to just reassure yourself that your antenna system's working and your radio's working, and it's nice to be able to visually see where your signal's going. But setting it up was a breeze. If that's what your question was there, Gary, you know, setting it up was probably a 15-minute job, maybe less than that. Steve. Yeah, the icon, sorry, just replying to your question there, well, your statement actually. Oh, let's just click OK on that. Your statement there, Steve. Yeah, I've seen a few videos on the IC705. There was one done by Waters and Stanton, I think it was, this week. And it looks lovely. It's just the fact that it's QRP. What a brilliant radio that would be if it had 100 watts. You know, it would just be a killer. But you've always got that compromise, haven't you? You've always got the compromise between it's a great radio, like the 817 or the 818. It's a great radio, but it's QRP. Or it's a brilliant radio, but it's really big and heavy. Oh, Whiskey 2 X-Ray India. Just come back to my call. And as you can see on there, the is that me? I think that's him. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Lovely job, Lee. That'll do. Thank you very much. And that's how simple FT8 or FT4 is. Yeah, the IC705. I would love one if it wasn't QRP. Love it or hate it, you know, QRP is a challenge, especially where we are at the moment with the sunspot cycles and wherever. I'm not saying it's impossible, especially not on digimodes like this. I've got a friend just up the road who's only got an 817 and he loves digimodes now, just discovered digimodes. And you know, he's worked many DXCCs with just a wire antenna, wire dipole, just on his 817 with a little whatever the box is called. So I'm not saying QRP is wrong. It's just that it's you know, it's a challenge. QRP is. So having a few more watts makes it a little bit more achievable, easier to achieve, let's say. So this is very pleasant, isn't it? I've never even thought of doing a live stream on FT8 before. You know, I always assumed that it would just be far too boring for anybody to watch. But certainly rattling through a few calls here, and I'm really super impressed with those Japan calls. And that 5,500 miles into Whiskey 2 X-Ray India was unexpected, to say the least. Yeah, you're completely right there, Steve. You have got the option to have an additional amplifier. It's just something else to carry. And then, you know, you start going, well, if I'm going to carry that, then I might as well do this, and I might as well... And yeah, it's just a challenge. But yeah, you're quite right. An additional amp would make it more viable, I think. Hold on, what are we doing here? I'm just staring at a screen here. But it's quite interesting to see, you know, how many people we've had watching this, because I really didn't imagine that anybody would want to sit there and watch me play FT8 or FT4, but maybe I was just wrong. There you go, there's another one in your logbook. I do, you know, I'm not saying I agree, but I do understand where people are coming from when they say it's not real radio. But it's just another aspect of radio. That some of us may find enjoyable, and so therefore why not? Have we had him? See if we can get that JA3 station. That'd be great, wouldn't it? To get, how many Japan stations would that be? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 3. That'd be brilliant to get 3 Japan stations. Yeah, you're quite right, and I love a nice screen. And sorry, in answer to your comment there, Steve. Yeah, I do love radios with a nice band scope. I've got a 991 that I tend to use for, I'm going to say, portable, mobile, portable-ish in the camper van. And The screen on the 991's a bit of a gimmick, to be totally honest with you. But the screen on the IC705 does look lovely. And a good band scope is invaluable. Yeah, thanks very much, Gary. Thanks for tuning in. Sayonara and all that lot. Ooh, got the JA free station. -5. He's -9. Cool. Yeah, night, Gary. The good thing with the Digimodes is, you know, literally, like you can see here that he's not receiving me back, but it will automatically keep sending my response to him, and hopefully, you know, with the bands and the way that the atmospherics change the way that the bands work. There you go. That's got it. Cool. Literally, by keep sending that reply, then hopefully that reply goes out at the time when the band changes enough to get the signal across to him. So, and I think that's just another good example of how it can... 9,431 miles. That's good, isn't it? That is really good. I'm really pleased with this. I really wasn't expecting it to be anything special today. Really wasn't. But you can see, if we just have a look over here, there's quite a bit of activity there in Japan. So I've already spoken to him. That was the JA3 station I've just spoken to. I don't think I've worked to JA2. Have I worked to JH1? I don't think I have, to be honest. I've worked him, the JA7. I know that call sign, M0NPT. I'm sure I do. But anyway. What are we doing now? We're not doing anything, are we? Let's work him. The way also I've got the colour code set up on here is it shows up a new CQ call in green. If it's a new DXCC that I've never worked before as well, it comes up in some unusual colour as well in order to attract my attention. Clearly, I've already worked JA previously, and that's why it's not flagging up to me. Also, with WSJTX, you can get it to give audible alerts as well, you know, like a bit of an attention seeker to make you realise that something special's happening. You can also tick this box here so it'll only show up CQ calls. There we go. What's happening now? I'm running about 80 watts, maybe, Steve. 75, 80 watts. You'll see up here where my mouse is. The question Steve just asked is how much power. And you'll see it up here. When I go into TX, it'll get to around about here, about 80. So yeah, this is barefoot. I don't run an amp or anything like that. I've toyed with the idea, but it just overcomplicates things. And it's just another box to have taking up space. And it's all relative at the end of the day, because if I bought a 400 watt amp, well, let's say I bought a 200 watt amplifier, then I would go through a period of I don't know, a few months, I'm sure, of thinking, oh, this is great. Let's go after him. I'd go through a few months of thinking, oh, you know, this is great with my 200 watts, and I'd get a few more DXCCs. Number one, power isn't going to help me hear the stations. So as you can see here, I'm not having that much of a problem in getting back to them. Probably, I don't know, 60% of the ones that I get back to hear me. So I would say my TX is probably on a par with my RX. Having more power is just going to make me be heard by stations that I can't hear. So that's not really going to help me that much. Hold on. So probably before I looked at increasing my power, I would probably look at improving my antenna. I've already got Flex6300 running the probably 25 meters between the radio and the cobweb, or if I'm on 40 meters or 80 meters, the dipole. So I'm not really going to improve that much, to be honest, in terms of losses. What are we doing here? Oh, JA3. We worked him? Yes. Oh, so yeah, probably the thing that I would look at before I looked at increasing power is to improve the efficiency of my antenna setup. And I don't think that's going to happen, because I'm going to be, if I was looking at increasing my antenna from what I've got, I'd be looking at going towards a beam. And a beam on HF is going to take up size, and the neighbours are going to get unhappy. So I don't think that's going to happen. The thing that I would love is a hex beam. But it's probably twice the size of what I've got, so it probably isn't going to happen, to be honest. So I'll just deal with what I've got and be thankful. In answer to your question, I thought everybody run low power. I think, you know, I know people out there that run a lot more than 400 watts on FT8, and even stations that shouldn't even be running 400 watts run a lot more than 400 watts on FT8, if you know what I mean. You can see them on the band. The beauty of having a scope like this is you can just see them when they pop up and they just wipe you out. But live and let live. You know, as long as they're not causing me any hassle, then move on. What's going on here? So yeah, I think, you know, 100 watts on FT8 isn't an issue. Whisper is supposed to be a low power mode, and I normally on Whisper would run maybe 5 or 10 watts. Yeah, Steve, FT8 on VHF or UHF. Well, with the Flex, I would run a transverter, and I have got a transverter that I used to run on the 5000, and I'm just waiting for a part to arrive so that I can adapt it to run on this Flex. I won't bore you, but there's on the 5000 and on the 3000, it's got a split IF. So you have two cables coming out of the back of the 5000 or the 3000 into the transverter, a receive and a transmit. With the 6000 series, it's got a combined IF. So literally, you need the receive and the transmit into one connector, so one cable. So I'm waiting for a relay to arrive, which hopefully should arrive, fingers crossed, the start of this week. And then I'll be able to change the down east microwave transverter so that it can work on this. And as soon as I can do that, then I can have 2 meters on the Flex as well. And as soon as I've got 2 meters, then I will, albeit only vertical, so I've got no horizontal antennas up on the house anymore for VHF. But, you know, even a vertical antenna running 50 watts, won't even be 50 watts actually, because I've got no 2 meter amplifier anymore. So it will only be straight out at the back of the down east microwave transverter, so it'll only be around about 10 or 15 watts. But even that will get me onto into Europe, onto the continent on FT8 easily, even vertical. Let's find somebody else to talk to. Should we have a... Oh, there's a station. Let's go for that US station. So yeah, so I will be going back to FT8 and FT4 on 2 meters. I haven't got much of an interest in 77s, to be honest. I only have HT 70D. I only really use repeater. Okay. Hotspot. Okay. Yeah. Well, I've got an FT400 in the car, an FT400M in the car, which is a 270 and Yaesu fusion, and I've got the 991, which can also do fusion as well, C4 FM. Truth be told, I don't use it. I don't use fusion. Each to their own, you know. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying I don't use it. Again, some people say it's not real radio. That's their opinion. Let's see what else there is. Let's just have a look. I'm really impressed with those JA contacts. Got him. SV. KM. Sorry, I'm just looking up here at the map of the world. Yeah, I've got to be honest with you, Steve. You know, as RTF drone, is that how you say it? I'm sorry. You know, if you can't put aerials up, or if you've got a lot of QRM in your home location or anything like that, then, you know, those digimodes work great. But me personally, you know, I don't know. Although I'm quite new to the hobby, and although I do like these new modes, I probably am a bit more of a purist in the way that my passion is really Let's try him. 2 meters simplex. That's where I go for my fun. Another 2 Japan stations there. JJ21 and oh, they're the same. Ah, JA28. Don't think I've worked him. Yeah, QRM's something that we all battle with. You know, I have to, if I want to work on 40 meters, I literally have to go around the house switching stuff off. I have to switch off CCTV cameras. I have to switch off some of the wife's LED fancy lighting things. Yeah, I know. I know. Some of my CCTV cameras are not, they're very early version of Power over Ethernet, so they're not PoE compliant, and they're very electrically noisy. So I've got, and I won't say the word because it'll trigger if I say it, but one of these voice activated things that's advertised on the telly, and I've got it now so that I can literally tell it to kill all of the electrically noisy things that cause me hassle on HF automatically. But every now and then, you know, something new will pop up in the house with a noisy wall adapter, and then you've got to go through that whole process again of finding where the noise is coming from. Yeah, I used to use JT Alert, or I used to need to use JT Alert, but I don't need to use it anymore. JT Alert was, I used to use it when I used the Flex5000, and that was my interface between Log4OM. Oh no, sorry. I used to use JT Alert. I used to use JT Alert as my interface between the old version of Log4OM and WSJTX, and that allowed me to take the QS out of WSJTX and put it into Log4OM automatically. But now with Log4OM version 2, I don't need to use JT Alert. And I couldn't see the additional benefit of having it. It was just another piece of software for me to remember to load. So I got rid of JT Alert. Well, I think I'm just going to finish this QSO, and then I'll take any questions, and then I think I'm going to call it a day for now. I might even come back on later because this has been really enjoyable. So thanks everybody for sticking with me and watching this. As I say, you know, FT8 is a bit like Marmite. Love it or hate it, it's just another aspect of the hobby that is there for some of us to enjoy and some of us not to. So there you go, that's that one in the logbook. But it's been really enjoyable. 75 minutes we've done, and I don't know, what have we had? We've had I think that's the start of it there. So I can't see whether that actually counts up. 24. So we've just rattled through 24 contacts in 75 minutes. You know, JAs, there's a few Japanese stations, 9,500 miles, 9,200 miles. There were some US stations. Where have they gone? So I saw that there were some US stations, but 9,400 miles, 5,500 miles into Asiatic Russia. Whiskey 2 X-Ray India, 5,500 miles. So yeah, I mean, I wasn't expecting it to be anything amazing, to be honest. But yeah, I'm really pleased with that. It was great fun. And yeah, Andy, thanks a lot for joining us. It's just another way of enjoying the hobby. Okay, everybody. Well, I'm going to cut it there. And thanks for staying with me. Thanks for joining me this lovely Sunday. The weather's cheering up, so I think I'm going to go out and play a little bit of 2 meters now from up a hill. But yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed it. If you have, think about subscribing to the channel. Let me just see if I can get him. I don't think I've worked him. Yeah, if you've enjoyed it, think about subscribing and have a look at the other videos that I've done. And see if I can get this JJ21 station. Or JJ2i, I think it is. Oh, look at that. That M7 station's got him. Or he's got the M7 station. Well done. M7 Sky. See, it just goes to show you don't need to run power. So there's an M7 station there, running, I would assume, 10 watts. And the JJ2 station's giving him a -11. But unfortunately, again, I don't know anything about the JJ2 station. Let's just bring it up on QRZ. Yeah, hasn't got any details, but he's in I don't know, Kawana City. I don't know anything about the M7 station. Have a look. Port in Yorkshire. Got a nice setup, FTDX 1200 with a G5 RV and a Moxon for 10 meters. 35 meters off the ground. Works portable as well. Cool. So, you know, clearly he takes a big interest in his hobby, building antennas and whatever. So good luck to the guy. But yeah, the Japanese station has heard him. But unfortunately, it doesn't look like he's getting back to the Japanese station. Oh, hold on. Yes, he did. So there you go. It went in the book. So yeah, well done to him. He's got over to Japan. That's great news. See if we can get him as well. That would be nice, wouldn't it? This will be the last one. If I can just get JJ2 in the log, I will close down from there. But yeah, it just goes to show, you know, power isn't everything. This JJ station just isn't getting me. It's no, somebody else has got him now. Just be nice to get one more in the lug, but I can't be greedy. I've had enough already. I wasn't expecting any Japan stations today, so we'll wait for him to come free, and then, although he's just said 7.3 to that RA station, so let's just see. French station's got him. Ah well, I think we'll call it a day there. Thanks very much for staying with me. Thanks for your interest. Don't forget to subscribe if you like it and you want to see more of these things, and I think I'll be doing this again as soon as it seems to have attracted a bit of interest and I've got a few thumbs up. It's the thumbs up and the subscriptions that that inspires me to do more of these things. So if you have enjoyed it, please don't forget to click that button. And don't forget to put some comments. So take care for now, and 7-3. Bye-bye.